This is KUT 90.5. I'm Jeff McCord, and here with me is Gotye. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Jeff.
Your real name is Wally de Backer. I know you're sick of talking about this. It's the question everyone asks you, but explain the nickname. Where does it come from?
Wally or Gotye?
Gotye.
Gotye is the French translation of my birth name, Wouter, which is from the Flemish-speaking part of Belgium.
Yeah. And are we pronouncing it correctly? Our morning man always puts an R in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotye.
there's a few different. Oh, right. He might have noticed an incorrect pronunciation note that floated around the internet for a long time. Depends on the accent, you know. I'd just say however you'd pronounce Jean-Paul Gaultier's surname. Mm-hmm. That's how you pronounce Gotye.
Yeah. Well, you've had you seem like an overnight sensation to most people here in the U.S.
Oh, I am. I just got up.
But you've been at it a long time.
I got up the other day and I went, you know what? Let's just write a really big song. It's easy as that, folks.
You've been at it quite a while, though. You started making records in, what,
Not really.
2001?
Just working in cafes, working in libraries, and just, a couple of months ago I just thought, it'd be kind of fun, write a song. I don't have any other songs, just that one. We just play 12 versions of that song in a set. It's quite amazing. It's like a covers, interpretations kind of hour.
No, I know you're kidding around. You've got a couple other albums out, and they're not out in this country, but I understand they might be soon.
Like Drawing Blood, my second record is out digitally. You can get it on iTunes and Amazon and other places. It's been held up physically. We were recently going to be releasing it properly on vinyl and CD, but a few sample things have inevitably got in the way.
As things tend to do like that. But, everyone's anxious to hear more material from you. You are a self-released artist. You put out your own music and...
have done.
And you've been a success in Australia with your prior record. You had a lot of notoriety there, but that usually doesn't translate to much in this country. How did the U.S. hear about you? Was there some dastardly plan to break yourself in this country, or was it total happenstance?
I mean, the internet has been pretty instrumental. The video and the song Somebody That I Used to Know got a lot of, I guess, grassroots attention through YouTube and Facebook. And that's what led me to do some licensing deals that I otherwise, maybe before I wrote that song, might not have expected to be able to do here in North America. And so, as you say, I guess I have been a self-released artist, very DIY, and still very hands-on with all aspects of what I do musically. But, I guess now I'm releasing my music through some very big labels over here. So that's been part of as well, how the music has got out there in this country.
You've just had phenomenal success. You were number one in the Billboard chart, which... You're originally from Belgium, and I read somewhere you're only the second Belgian artist to ever hit number one in the Billboard chart. Is that true?
I think so. Who was the other? Was the other a nun, a singing nun?
It's.
I think it was in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah. But that's fascinating, and you're only like the fifth Australian to ever do it.
Yeah. It's fascinating from one perspective, but also not that interesting, really. It's a bit
doesn't just happen.
People come from all over the world. Sometimes Americans maybe don't always remember that. There are other people in the world.
Yeah. Well,
I know in Austin that's not the case.
Well, I congratulations on all your success. Now, you've gone from playing cafes to festivals like ACL, and I'm assuming you've done a lot of these festivals this summer. And
not really. I've
no,
don't tend to play that many festivals. It's gotten easier because we've finally got a few personnel in our crew that really have worked out sort of how to make it possible. But because the material I do is so varied, it's very hard to do sets at festivals without sound checks with the type of variety of stuff we do in our set. So I've had enough festival shows that I actually haven't found very pleasurable enough to kind of not really want to do that many festivals. Yeah. So it's going to be fun today, but yeah, I prefer to probably do club shows or theatres or our own shows where we can sort of get the production right. And
it must be just tremendously challenging to get your music across to so many people when there's so much going on out here and
in a festival environment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I noticed. During our set there are 3 other stages happening, so you kind of have to be a little bit aware of that. Some of my favourite songs, and I think some of the strongest songs, maybe most direct songs I've written, the ones that are the most potent, are actually the quietest. They just don't work at festivals. So
those are just out.
I just leave them out, which is a shame because I know some fans, they might come to a festival show and it's the only show they get to see and they really want to hear those songs. And if I don't even sort of attempt to play them, then it can be disappointing for them. But I've sort of attempted it too many times, boldly saying, it'll work, people will maybe be quiet and, the other stages won't be too encroaching, but, it just doesn't work. And you just have 4 minutes of people kind of standing around going, what's going on? I can't hear anything other than random morass of sound from the festival environment. So it's unfortunate, but, it's okay. Just got to play to the context of where you're playing.
Yeah, on the other hand, probably more people will see you at this event than have at your last, I don't know how many shows put together. So,
well, I guess people who are coming to shows that they're already interested to a certain extent, whereas here there might be some more cursory listeners who may see something they find intriguing, which is always good.
Yeah.
Something they didn't know before.
Yeah. But there's nothing like really playing for your fan base, I imagine. And I imagine you've developed quite a fan base here based on your hit single and your hit album. And
it's been interesting recently because it's quite varied. You can definitely tell maybe some people who've just come along because they only know the single.
Yeah.
They might be the people leaving after we play the single somewhere in the middle of a set. And then there's other people who are, they're ready to stay for any number of encores we might do. They're glued to the front of the barrier. And so, it's quite varied. But I guess when you have a song that crosses over very broadly, you get, very broad range of responses.
So you're drawing crowds in Iowa as well as California. And
we have played a bunch of places. I certainly didn't expect making this record that I might be doing shows in the south of America. This has been a blast to be here for the first time. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Austin, it's such a great music city. So, maybe I would have hoped we might have been playing here at some stage. But I don't know. To be doing gigs in like Milwaukee or find ourselves in Raleigh, North Carolina, I was like, okay, wow, that's kind of surprising to have that's happened in a few months.
So having had the couple of years that you've had, going from a regional success to a worldwide phenomenon, you just wake up in the morning and do you think, when is this all going to crash down and end, or do you believe it, or are you? What do you expect to happen now? I mean, it's just got to have been the most amazing couple of years for you,
I don't know. I mean, day by day, if I get up in the morning, I don't often think about the broader context of what's happening with my career, or especially being on tour, I tend to take things a little bit a day at a time. I kind of look at a day schedule and think about what's going on. So
well, that's what I wonder.
Maybe I haven't really processed the whole thing overall. Yeah,
that's exactly what I wonder, because you're so busy with the minutiae of day to day, and you got to be here, you got to be there, you got to play this. And do you ever sit back and think?
You definitely sometimes take a step back and I realize that it's phenomenal sort of what's happened. And I mean, I would kind of predict, knowing from prior experience, it takes me quite a while to make records. So I'm probably going to be off the scene for a while, like a year and a half at least, making an album. What that album will be musically and what that will represent maybe, in terms of how it relates to the material I've got on this album, the kind of crossover I've had with some of the material on this record, I have no idea yet. So what's probably inevitable is, there's every possibility I might never have another song that kind of just in such an anomalous way crosses over as broadly as that song has. Maybe I'll have a bunch more hits depending on who knows, and what that means, I don't really know yet, but I tend to not, I don't spend nearly as much thinking about, it's not that interesting to me what all that means. It's fascinating to kind of be at the center of that experience sometimes as it's happening, but I'm far more interested in thinking about what it means to me musically, like what can I explore sonically, and how can I make a record that does something different I haven't done before, and anything that comes after that commercially or in terms of fans' responses, that, you can't really control that. So
we're talking to Gotye here on KUT 90.5. What about musically? You are going to need to make another record at some point, and do you ride on the road, or are you one of those guys that locks yourself in a room and just comes up with everything all at once?
I've written on the road before. I've started snippets of, sampled drum parts and chord progressions and ideas, but never had great success doing it, so I haven't really been attempting it. It's been so busy on this run too that, I think I'll be kind of waiting till next year to start writing new stuff.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to talk with us, and great luck with your show this afternoon. And, it's great to see you. Come back to Austin soon.
I hope to, yeah.
I'm Jeff McCord. This is KUT 90.5.